Welcome to Group 6's presentation on our chosen topic of leadership. We're extremely happy to have you here today, and we hope you're able to take away something from this presentation. Let's begin by first defining leadership. Simply stating, leadership is essentially influencing groups of people to achieve a common goal. With numerous current debates on its relevance in the modern world, an article from the business magazine Forbes suggested that strategy in the 21st century has become less directed and more emergent. In this broader world of ours, we can see that all modern organizations have human capital. That is, organizations have people and get things done through people. This has implications in that organizations are able to allocate their resources in such a way to achieve outcomes such as increased job performance, enrichment, satisfaction, and involvement, just to name a few. Throughout time, there have been four main categories of leadership, branched into trait theory, behavioral, situational theory, and transformational theory. With a variety of theories used to define this domain, research suggests that the introduction of behavioral theory focused on people and their behaviors. However, situational theory has had more strength compared to this, as it was able to build upon trait and behavioral theory but also place an extra focus on the situation that was contingent to the leadership style. In terms of comparing and contrasting for viability, we'll be focusing on this newly created dimension of transformational leadership due to its ever-changing and dynamic process in the modern world. We have decided to tailor our database and journal article searches to the case study of Google, with Fortune magazine ranking Google at the top of its best companies to work for in 2007. Google prides itself on its theoretical foundations of transformational leadership, where it excels in work culture. Google have a relatively flat organizational structure. By downplaying its top-down hierarchy, Google supplements research by Garvin, which suggests that they excel through their clear vision and focus on making its employees leaders, without levels of upper management. When researching the organizational practices of Google, the methods we considered extended to surveys, empirical research, and qualitative attributes of organizational leadership culture. When conducting further research, we sourced information from psychology-based journals on the UNSW database, the internet, and company web pages. In order to ensure the information was research and factual-based, we evaluated the reliability, validity, and accuracy of the information by cross-comparing it with a number of articles. And so I'd like to begin on transformational leadership. Transformational leadership focuses on creating valuable and positive change with the aim of transforming these followers into leaders. Research from Hayter and Bass suggests that it enhances motivation, morale, and performance. And when you compare it to research by Calpe, we can learn that this adoption of leadership enables followers to gain a collective sense of any organization in a way that is inspirational for optimal performance, improving their pursuits and self-efficacy levels. This plays a huge importance in modern organizations such as professional services firms, data, HR, and any industry essentially that needs to be managed. Bass's framework through his MLQ measures various components of the range of leadership, with his factor analysis of the different traits. Cronbach's alpha, which is a measure of internal consistency, shows an alpha of 0.95 for transformational leadership. This suggests a high reliability in the psychometric tests for employees in organizations with these leadership questionnaires. The big areas of models under transformational theory are Burns' model, Bass's model, Bennis and Nannes' model, and Shane's model. Bennis and Nannes devised a study of the top 90 leaders from which led them to rediscovering the initial trait approach to leadership, all the way from the 1800s. They identified logical thinking, self-control, persistence, and empowerment, from which they identified empowerment as the most critical to leaders as change agents. And from this came the four characteristics as you can see on the screen.
Right, guys, I think today we're going to be working on the Google Plus project. So, I'm thinking that you all should just start on the basic layouts of, just some creative ideas. Just throw some ideas in there and just do whatever you do. So, go for that.
What do you mean by creative ideas?
Look, you guys are the team members here. You're the ones who think of the creative ideas. I'm the leader. I shouldn't have to deal with that. It's your job, so, I'm not paying you for nothing.
From this video, we can see that it was focusing on one of the following characteristics of Bennis and Nannes. But which one was it? Let's take a look.
Alright guys, so today we're going to be working on the Google Plus project. So what I pretty much need everyone to do is just some creative ideas of the website layout and everything like that. So I'm just going to need you to just work on those ones over there. And yeah, you're doing great now, just keep working on there as well. Yep, great, perfect, good ideas there. And yep, some statistics there, alright. Right, guys, great, fantastic. We're on track. It's good work.
As seen in the video, the situation at Google was that the leaders became a role model for the followers essentially by leading through example. We can see that the CEO builds trust and respect from the employees. This is validated by Berner et al.'s research that suggests that leaders with this characteristic also share and behave in a manner consistent to articulated ethics, principles, and values. The Berner's model of transformational leadership deals with the idea that a leader and follower will engage in raising one's and other values. He identifies two categories, 1. Moral leadership, and 2. Amoral leadership, but states that it is the moral leadership that is the real leaders. We can see a breakdown of moral leadership into two categories. Transformational leaders of this type are associated with a higher moral position and then motivates their followers. In its most basic form, it is used to enhance the motivation, morale, and overall performance of staff, and was originally used to describe political leaders by Burns. Now let's take a look at a different scenario at Google headquarters.
I have the next idea for the future generation. We first start off over here, and then after we adopt that characteristic, I think we can transform Google to be the best.
Just sit at your desk. You know, you're an employee. You can do your work. I shouldn't have to guide you. It doesn't matter. Just do it, and you know, if you have any questions, just Google it or something.
Now let's take a look at the same situation with the different leadership styles.
And I come up with the idea that we think is the next for the future of Google. So we're going to try and combine what we've already done, and with changing technologies nowadays, we've got the secret formula for a new strategy. And so we're going to try to transform it to make bigger things.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
How did you guys do that?
I just worked as a team.
That's fantastic work, guys. Good work. That's going to save us a lot of time and money. That's how you run a company, gentlemen and ladies.
Edgar Schein's model of transformational leadership distinguishes three different levels among organizational cultures around the globe. They are artifacts and behaviors, values, and assumptions. Artifacts are clear and definitive, where values are the levels of employee professionalism to the outsiders of the organization. And finally, shared basic assumptions are behaviors inherent to the essence of an organizational culture. In all cultures, the dual nature of our work roles is reflected in the activities of managing and leading. A short differentiation is that managers make sure work is done through people to maintain improvements, whereas leaders make sure work gets on by better helping people establish improvements. The following depictions represent the order of power across all roles through managing and leading propagation over time. We can see that it highlights the importance of leadership in higher level roles that can be combined with the transformational theory in modern organizations today. Google adopts a 70-20-10 business management style in managing innovation. It accentuates that employees should spend 70% of its time on essential business tasks, 20% of its time on projects associated to the central business, and 10% on projects dissimilar to the core business. Accumulated research shows that adopting this approach leads to an average of 25% performance improvement. Furthermore, it shows 40% employee retention and 35% employee satisfaction ratings. This 70-20-10 approach is adopted by companies such as Sony Ericsson, Coca-Cola, Dell, Microsoft, and the Australian federal government, thus highlighting its importance in today's company growth. In questioning whether the quality of leadership style matters, these statistics can help to make a decision. A key takeaway would be that organizations with high-quality leaders are 13 times more likely to outperform its competitors in metrics such as financial performance, employee engagement, and customer satisfaction. We source this information from a variety of development surveys, empirical sections of journal articles, and forecasts from leading companies. As discussed earlier, there are best practices that organizations should and currently follow. Research by Saleh and Sadova show that it's creative culture that leads to positive performance for employees, and research by Teed supplements this. For Google, their three main best practices would be 1. Focusing on the user, 2. Doing one thing really well first, and 3. Operating fast to changing environments. In conclusion, transformational leadership focuses on creating valuable and positive change in followers with the goal of transforming these followers into leaders. This is supplemented by Bernes and Nanus' theory on transformational leadership, which has strong practical implications for organizations. This brings us to the end of our presentation. We thank you for your time, and we hope you've had key takeaways of information from our presentation, and we look forward to hearing from you next time.